What up, my fellow Knicks fans? This is your guy Marcellus Ease, and don't panic quite yet. Now the Knicks missing out without KP, and this will be Volume 2, as pretty much the Knicks swept the Dallas Mavericks in the season series. And this is KP's second game in which he struggled. Now the game previously before this, he went 1 for 11 against the Boston Celtics, and he was actually benched for the whole fourth quarter. So in this game, he has yet another lackluster performance. And also in that matchup against the Celtics, he was guarded and pretty much shut down by Marcus Smart. And remind you, Marcus Smart is only 6'4", and he destroyed KP, especially when KP tried to go down low. Now I'm saying this because in this segment right here, Kendrick Perkins is pretty much going to express some sentiments about KP and him actually attacking the block. You guys check it out, and I'm going to touch base.
It sounded like when Kristaps Porzingis returned to Madison Square Garden for the first time last night as an opponent. Some boos, some chitter-chatter. Spike was there. Kristaps finished the game with 20 points and 11 rebounds, but he started kind of shaky. And here's Marcus Morris, who was, of course, the hero of the game with his three-pointer. Here's what he had to say.
It was another level, and, you know, it looked like it was a little rattled, too, so, you know, it kind of helped us.
In the beginning, yeah, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yo, you know what's crazy? That Marcus Smart picked up on that. It's not even just him. Even the reporter. Look how the reporter quickly said in the beginning, right? Damn, even the reporter picked up on it. You know, Porzingis has to do a little better job with his poker face. That's something he always struggled with, especially when he was out here, and then he would get criticism from the media. You got to have a little bit better poker face than what he has.
Brian, Marcus Morris Sr. is never at a loss for words when it comes to trying to tell his opponent what he thinks of him. Did you agree that Kristaps was rattled last night?
I do think at the start of the game he was rattled. Right out of the gate, he tried to make a steal out of their defensive scheme, and then he really forced a shot maybe on the Mavericks' second or third possession. And I've been around guys in these situations, and they just, how could you not be tight? Of course you're going to be tight. And, you know, he's not played the way that he would like to play. I think it was a bit of a disservice that they had the schedule had him play both of these games in his first month back from ACL.
Now, KP right now is definitely not playing well. Like I said, in the previous game against Boston, he pretty much got shut down by Marcus Smart and was benched for the whole fourth quarter. And now KP struggling is forcing the Dallas Mavericks coach to actually change his lineups a bit. You know, in the first couple of games, they've had at least 8 different starting lineups. And with KP struggling, it's forcing Luka to play extra minutes. Luka is actually averaging a lot of minutes per game. And he's actually struggling in fourth quarters, especially in this game against the Knicks. Luka had a bunch of turnovers. And that's because he had to play a lot of minutes in the quarters leading up to that. And with KP struggles, the coach actually has to give more minutes to Seth Curry and Tim Hardaway Jr., in which these guys are very inconsistent. So KP struggling right now, especially after having almost about a 1.5-year break. It's actually affecting the team, and the coaches is trying to actually maneuver his lineups around until KP can kind of get back to full strength.
On the other hand, they're over now.
Right.
You know, so he has not played his best. He also wasn't a factor down the fourth quarter last night, which is not the first time we've seen this from him this year.
Yeah, it's actually the second game in a row. So this is back-to-back games where he is a non-factor in the fourth quarter. Remember, KP is 5 years, $157 million. It's about $31 million a year. So the Dallas Mavericks have always struggled with getting free agents, and this is pretty much them taking a chance on KP. But like I said, I understand why the Knicks were reluctant to give him that extension. There's just no guarantees, especially after coming off that injury.
Yeah, which is probably a bigger topic for the Mavericks than just last night's game.
He was rattled. Matter of fact, KP always looked rattled. It's not the first time. He's always rattled. And I mean, you know, obviously he hasn't been horrible, but he haven't lived up to expectations.
He didn't have a terrible game.
Especially for that 5 years, $157 million. You guys remember that. They're locked in to KP.
He just didn't have a great game. He didn't have a good game.
But we are waiting on that great game.
But aren't we giving him the same space that we gave Gordon Hayward, that we gave Paul George?
Absolutely not, Rachel.
Why?
I had a torn ACL. I came back in 6 or 7 months, and it was no excuse. Okay?
and Gordon Hayward came back the following year. KP it's almost been a year and a half.
Everyone is you, Kendrick Perkins.
Nah, but I'm not as talented as Porzingis. But I mean, he had 20 months to rehab. That's more than enough time to come back in great fashion. And he's posting all these IG, Instagram, I done bulked up and all this, and he still haven't touched the block one time. So I mean, I'm just not high on Porzingis. I'm sorry. So I'm with Marcus Morris. I mean, he looked.
You see right there, Kendrick Perkins talking about he hasn't touched the block. How the hell can KP get shut down by Marcus Smart? Marcus Smart is only 6'4", and in that game against the Celtics, he got shut down, especially on the block. That is a good point brought up by Kendrick Perkins. I mean, this guy's 7'3". You paid him 5 years, 157, and he can't touch the block. That shit is crazy.
I don't think he should go to the block, Perk, because I don't think he can play down there right now. Maybe later in his career, but I actually think he should stay on the outside. That's kind of where he can.
Later in his career, he's 4 years in. When is he going to go down low? 4 years in. He's not a rookie.
Well, wow.
Which is tough at that position.
Right.
Well, it's tough when you're 7'3". I understand.
You see how Kendrick Perkins is laughing? Kendrick Perkins already knows why he can't go down low. That's why he's laughing like that. Just look at the tone in his laugh.
Don't go to the block.
Right.
You're 7'3". That's not down.
Well,
don't go to the paint.
I mean,
you don't have to jump to dunk. Don't go and touch the paint.
I don't think that's where I don't think
Kendrick Perkins already knows, like, this guy may not be built to go in the paint.
that's where he's
I
excelling.
mean, we know how he got hurt in the first place, so.
That's true.
There you go. How do you feel he did it? It wasn't even Turtleneck Tuesday, and he.
I mean, it is what it is, but KP struggling right now is actually it's causing a lot. It has like a trickle-down effect on the rest of the team. As like I said, Luka's minutes he averages a lot of minutes right now, and it's causing him to have a lot of turnovers, especially in the fourth quarter. And Luka in this Knicks game, he actually sat down for almost half of the fourth quarter because, like I said, with KP struggling, they're actually trying to maneuver around and find consistent guys, relying on guys like Seth Curry and Tim Hardaway Jr. and Powell. It's just a lot of inconsistent bench guys for the Dallas Mavericks, but KP definitely has to step up. He has had more than enough time to rehab. But like I said, 5 years, 157 mil. It's a very risky choice for the Knicks to actually take on that type of contract, especially a guy off an injury. But for the Mavericks, it's not so bad because the Mavericks struggle to get free agents. Mark Cuban has been struggling for years to get free agents to come down there in Dallas, especially with no state income tax. But it is what it is. This is Volume 2. You guys let me know what you think, and you guys stay safe. Peace.